How are y'all doing? It's your man Keenan Stone. It's been a minute since I've done a longer length video, so I apologize for my hiatus. I have just been struggling to be consistent, which is the topic of discussion today. Consistency is something that I've been struggling with for the past few years now. And, it's crazy because it didn't used to be a problem when I was younger, I feel like. Now I'm in my 30s, and I feel like the concept of consistency was pretty easy for me to do when I was like a teenager in high school, because I was doing things that required me to be consistent, like going to school, studying for my exams. I had extracurricular activities, like I played tennis. I was really, really heavy into Taekwondo when I was growing up. Still trained, but the intensity of training was definitely a lot more when I was younger, trying to get my first black belt. So I was already practicing the principle of consistency, just not knowing what it was. I just realized, like, hey, I want to get good at something, so I have to show up every day and do it. Not every teenager gets that, hence why their parents put them in programs like martial arts or put them in sports. But there are those that do get it, and they just do it automatically. But I feel like as I matured or got older, I started to overthink things. I think that's like the common trap, right? Is like when you're younger, when you're a kid, for instance, you just try things. You don't even think about the ramifications of your actions or the consequences, or you don't think about the safety of it. You just go for it, and you find out later, or you end up being successful, right? But when you get older, there's a lot more risk that goes into consideration. You have more knowledge on things. You tend to second guess yourself. You're more risk averse when new opportunities present themselves. So it's like you kind of lose your childlike curiosity. I say that to say this, that consistency is a simple action, and it isn't necessarily drawn from your emotions, because your emotions are fickle. They ebb and flow. There are some days you feel like a nut, some days you don't. It's just how the way your mind works, how the way life is. So being able to detach your emotion from your actions, I think, is a game changer. And for me, I feel like my emotions and my actions have been closely intertwined recently, and I'm trying to separate the two again. I don't know what you're experiencing or what y'all are experiencing, but that's the struggle that I have now. So I guess what are some practical ways to be consistent? I think number one is just starting small. So if you're trying to develop a good habit, like for instance, you're trying to wake up earlier in the morning, instead of like being all gung-ho and Rambo about it, it's like, I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. starting today, and I'm going to do it for 30 days straight. You could do that, but your chances of success are probably stacked against you, because you're already in a big habit of not waking up early. So as soon as you shock the system, and say you're used to waking up at 11 a.m. in the morning, early afternoon, depending on who you're talking to, and you shock your system and you wake up at 5, that's really jolting. And yeah, you might be successful at doing that, maybe the first 2 to 3 times, but it becomes very apparent, like, oh, this is super hard, then you just give up because it was way too extreme of a jump. But say if you amend that to waking up at 10 a.m., so going like an hour back, like at 10 a.m., that's a lower hanging fruit, and it's more reasonable. It's an hour earlier, right? But it's still earlier. And that way you can build momentum, and say you can get up at 10 a.m. for a week straight instead of 30 days straight, maybe even 5 days straight. That's a small win. then you start training yourself like, hey, I can actually change my actions and my outcomes. Then you can start scaling earlier, right? So if you're from 10 to 9, then from 9 to 8, then from 8 to 7. You see where I'm going? So I think being consistent is choosing a thing that's super simple and easy, okay, for you to do that doesn't really change the flow of your life, but you're kind of tricking yourself into developing a new habit. So starting small, I think, is number one. I think number two is taking inventory of where you sit currently in life. I know for me, I'm nowhere near where I want to be. And, I think, man, how did I get to this point, or what could I have done better to, avoid certain situations? And so you think, so what I say is like, say you're not really happy of where you are. That is actually a product of consistency, but it's not the consistency that is beneficial for you. So, say you don't have $1 to your name and you're broke. Well, what decisions did you make? Did you buy certain things that you weren't supposed to purchase? Did you not, save your money? Did you eat out 7 days a week? Like, you start to take inventory of the micro errors in judgment that you've made over time consistently that has led you to this point. So when you actually sit down and do the math and you realize, man, I've been doing this wrong, doing this wrong, been doing this wrong, then it really brings it all into context, and you got a reality check. I need to change my habits. So this is what you call taking a long look in the mirror. Is what I'm getting at. So yes, take a long look in the mirror. That's number two. So number one, we have start small. Maybe take a long look in the mirror should be number one, but for continuity, number one, start small. Number two, take a long look into the mirror. And number three, I would say, look at someone. So say like you have a mentor, or there's a role model, or your favorite YouTuber, athlete, streamer, musician, entrepreneur, anyone that you look up to or want to emulate. Look at their life and how successful they are. And this is not a comparison per se, but it's more of a motivation. You're showing yourself what is possible when you do the right actions consistently. Because people who are successful, they are there because they made the sacrifices necessary to get to that point. So every successful person that I've talked to, or that I've watched, they don't have the same routine as a regular average 9 to 5 person. They're up early, sometimes up later. They're doing their daily activities. They're not indulging in pleasure. They're working. They're mastering the mundane. They are doing the things that other people aren't willing to do, right? Successful people do what unsuccessful people aren't willing to do. This is a common personal development phrase thrown around, but it's super true. When you see the finished result or the end product, that just doesn't happen overnight. That is a culmination of doing the right activities day in, day out, no matter the conditions, no matter the circumstance. So when you have those role models, right? When you have these successful people that you look up to, mentors, it shows you what's possible. It shows you that this is the payoff after all the consistent hard work that's been done over time. So again, 1, start small. 2, what was number 2? Take a long look in the mirror. And 3, model what other successful people are doing, right? Behold success, in a sense. It's a lot like 2, but see the positive outcomes in other people's lives, right? Not comparing, but using that as a source of inspiration and motivation. So yeah, this is kind of like a free-form conversation and kind of the things that I'm thinking about currently in my life, because it's been a really challenging past 3 years, post-pandemic. It hasn't been a cakewalk. There's been ups and downs. I know for y'all that it's probably been the same. And a lot of people that I'm talking to, they're struggling. Like, they're struggling financially, they're struggling mentally, spiritually, all the above. People are struggling right now. And I think what can help us get out of the rut is that we focus on a singular goal that we're trying to accomplish. We utilize our gifts, the abilities that God gave us, to grow something, to create something. Because I really believe that all of us are creators. We are meant to create. We are meant to solve a problem. There is a problem on this earth that we were created to solve. I know I probably repeated myself, but there is a problem on this earth that we are all created to solve. Each of us have our own problem to solve, and to bring value into the world, to elevate, to push forward mankind. So, but we can't do that if we're distracted. We can't do that if we drink the Kool-Aid of just the gloom and doom and negativity in the media, the drama and social media, right? We can't subscribe to any of those things, but subscribe to me, by the way. If you made it this far, subscribe to my channel, like and subscribe, share this video. But yeah, like, we have to tune out of all the mess and tune in to what we're supposed to be doing. Okay? So consistency. Start small. Build momentum. And then watch everything grow. Alright, that's all I have. I'm going to be back tomorrow with another video. My challenge to myself and to hold myself accountable is to do a video a day for 30 days. So you're going to see me tomorrow. I'll come back with another topic that I've been thinking about. And let's just keep this going. All right, y'all. Love you. Peace.